Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am.
Nino Brown Boxing, and I'm back in the building. Shout out to the LDBC. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. So today I was thinking about the welterweight division, my favorite division in boxing, and a couple of thoughts that crossed my mind is, outside of guys like Errol Spence and Lamont Peterson and potentially Terrence Crawford, I'm sure I'm leaving a few guys out, so no disrespect to those guys, but a lot of guys in the welterweight division, outside of the names I just named, they're duckers. Plain and simple, they duck top competition. And I was trying to see what person and what fighter is currently in the welterweight division, or outside of Terrence Crawford, what fighter from 140 can move up to 147 and make an instant impact. But then it got me thinking. It got me thinking about what fighter at 154 can come back down. Well, can go down to 147. And the reason I thought about a fighter, coming from one weight class, dropping down to another, because of Curtis Stevens' recent comments about dropping down to 154, fighting Jermell Charlo. And this guy started his career off at light heavyweight. So I was thinking to myself, damn, what current fighter fights at 154? He's not a big junior middleweight, and he got skills to pay the bills. And who else popped in my mind? No other than Austin, no doubt, Trout. I don't know how it would be for Austin Trout when it comes to making 147. I don't know if that's something that's completely out of the question for him. I don't know if he can make 147, but he'll be extremely drained at that weight. Or can he make 147 and just be, somewhat comfortable? I feel like if he can be extremely comfortable at that weight, then he will already be fighting there. But I feel like if he took the time to prepare to make 147, would he be able to condition himself to make 147, keep a good amount of his power, if not all of it, stay well conditioned and not be drained, and he doesn't have to cut a significant amount of muscle mass in order to make the weight. Now, so considering all of those factors, what if Austin Trout can make 147? It had me thinking. Well, he did beat Cotto. In some people's opinion, he at the bare minimum got a draw, and some people felt like he beat Canelo. Yeah, he lost to the Charlos. He lost to Charlo. He lost to Jerry Hurd. But those guys are big, Those guys like Jerry Hurd and Jamal Charlo, those are two guys, in my opinion, and they have the frame to campaign at super middleweight at least. And then there will be a small or mid-sized light heavyweight, in my opinion. Those guys are taller than me. They have a frame bigger than mine. I walk around at 185 pounds, and I have a low body fat percentage. So I think those guys can definitely put on some muscle mass shit. Comparing this shit, Holyfield went to light heavyweight all the way up to heavyweight, and he did the damn thing. So I believe that these guys have the ability to do it. But going back to Austin Trout, if Austin Trout was to go down to 147, because he's, Austin Trout's been on record recently saying a lot of these guys at 154, they're extremely big for the division. He wants to fight someone or wait till he gets in the ring with someone that's his size and see what he does. That's not a direct quote. That's not a direct quote from him, but pretty much paraphrasing what the guy said. So I'm thinking about putting Austin Trout in this mix of 147-pound fighters and thinking how he would do. And honestly, I think he would do amazing. Austin Trout is a southpaw, very tricky guy. He's slick. He has a lot of skills. He's not the heaviest puncher at 154, but at the same time, you got some guys at 147 that don't crack that hard for the division. How about matching Austin Trout with a Sean Porter? I think Austin Trout will box circles around Sean Porter. I think Austin Trout, since he's been in the ring with guys naturally bigger than Sean Porter, guys like Cotto and Jamal Charlo and Jerry Hurd, those guys are definitely bigger than Sean Porter, especially Hurd and Charlo. He definitely has the ability to use his size against a Sean Porter. And then I'm just thinking about everyone matching him up against Keith Thurman. I believe Austin Trout would stop Danny Garcia. I truly believe Austin Trout can stop Danny Garcia. I think it would be a good move if it's doable. Austin Trout moving down to 147 could definitely mix up things with the 147-pound division. And I think, it would mix up things because it'll add in another fighter that wouldn't fear these guys. Austin Trout has been in the ring with some of the top junior middleweights. So I don't have any reason to believe that he would go down to welterweight and he would duck the top guys. But then you have a guy like Austin Trout getting into the welterweight mix of things, willing to get in the ring, winning big fights, knocking off guys. It'll put guys like Keith Thurman. It'll put guys like Danny Garcia and Sean Porter on notice that if they don't get in the mix, they will get left behind. Now, when you have a trend of majority of these guys in the welterweight, majority of the top welterweights are ducking, and they're ducking and dodging, especially Errol Spence and potentially Terrence Crawford. You have more duckers than you have guys that have that dog in them and that has the heart that the fans want in a fighter. It's kind of lopsided. It's kind of similar to the situation with Rigondeaux when it comes to Leo Santa Cruz, Carl Frampton, and the whole Scott Quigg situation. You have most of the guys that want to duck, but so it kind of balances out for them and what their particular agenda is when it comes to their boxing career. But you start to balance the division out, and you start adding more guys in the division. Terrence Crawford is moving up, and then for the sake of this video, if Austin Trout was to move down, you would put enough guys in the mix where at this point you would give Keith Thurman a potential mandatory, and Austin Trout someone he says like, well, damn, this guy's coming from 154. He's a bigger guy. He's a southpaw. He got skills. I might as well just take my chances and get in the ring with Errol Spence, because at this point, I have more to gain by beating Errol Spence than getting in the ring and losing to a guy like Austin Trout. I truly believe Austin Trout has the ability. He has the skills to go down to 147 if his body allows him to, of course. He has the ability to go down to 147 and make himself a WBA mandatory. He can, Keith Thurman, there's no WBA regular champion right now because Lamont Peterson, he let go of that regular title to fight Errol Spence. Something I definitely commend Lamont Peterson for. So shout out to King Pete. That's an open opportunity. I don't know if the idea has ever even crossed Austin Trout's mind, but to me, this is definitely an interesting topic. It's definitely something I would love other YouTubers and other boxing channels and media outlets to discuss, and hopefully the question can get back to Austin Trout. You got big welterweights. There's probably some guys that are naturally bigger than him. Some guys at welterweight like Errol Spence, may walk around more than Austin Trout. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm pretty damn sure they're close to the same size when it comes to them being in everyday shape. And just imagine Austin Trout at this welterweight division putting himself in this position. I made a video yesterday about how Floyd Mayweather can stop these guys from ducking. I think if you have a guy like Austin Trout, he can definitely contribute in a big way when it comes to keeping these guys from ducking, especially somebody like Keith Thurman, since they have a title. But the same thing can go for Danny Garcia, and it can go for Sean Porter, because if the WBC was to put a guy like Austin Trout in a title eliminator fight, who's to say Danny Garcia may say, hey, man, I might as well, fight Errol Spence. There's potentially a bigger payday, and I'll be getting a shot at the title instead of fighting a title eliminator for the WBC against an Austin Trout. I believe it's just something that Austin Trout should definitely look into, and I really hope people people push this just for the simple fact, get this message to Austin Trout. I think the guy has the ability to do great things in the welterweight division. Errol Spence is my favorite fighter, no doubt. I'm not shy about that. I'll let the world know that's my guy. But at the same time, Austin Trout, he has the skills. He has the experience fighting bigger fighters. And it's just it would be a great thing, man. I would really love to see that fight. I think Austin Trout can definitely put all those guys in the welterweight division that are ducking in a very compromising position to want to fight the best. You know, at that point, they wouldn't be able to avoid the top guys for the simple fact, you know, it's either you take this L against Austin Trout or be in an extremely close fight where if Austin Trout was to beat you, or you look kind of shady against the guy, you get a draw against him, that kind of takes you out of a lot of the title contention talk, and now people want you to give Trout a rematch or whatever the case may be. But Austin Trout can definitely make a lot of noise at 147. Now, me thinking about Austin Trout, it got me thinking about, well, damn, what other junior middleweights, you know, guys at 154 that are kind of small for the division compared to their other 154-pound counterparts, what other guys up there can potentially drop down to 147 and make noise in the division? I got to do some, I got to look into it. But I think, once again, I said it already, I'm going to repeat myself one last time. Austin Trout, 147, jumping that WBA rankings, jumping that WBC ranking, and try to get a guy like Sean Porter or Danny Garcia in the ring. I know this guy can make some noise. I believe that he can beat both of those guys. I believe he can beat Keith Thurman as well. But that's just my opinion on that. This is Nino Brown Boxing. Shout out to the LDBC. Don't forget to hit that like button. Please subscribe. Hit that notification icon. I'm going to try to drop another video and see if I can find another guy at 154 that I can make a part 2 to this video. This is Nino Brown Boxing. Peace.